Good morning, Timmy Talkers. Happy Sunday. And today's jolly little topic is World War III, which, don't worry, it won't take long, probably much like World War III, but should get a couple of ground rules in place first. If NATO are suggesting that Germany strengthen their army and march across Poland to attack Russia, best off getting some rules written down to prevent any misunderstandings in the future, because it sounds like a familiar tale, doesn't it? And there was on about conscription the other day. Now, that would be interesting to see who would be conscripted. You've got the people with anxiety, depression, or they probably wouldn't be able to do it. You'd have the lots of the ones who are too feckless or unwell to get up to go to work, so they might not be up for a scrap, might they? It'll be interesting to see how many dual nationalities Britain ends up with, because there are millions of people here with dual nationalities, and that's perfectly acceptable. But I bet there wouldn't be so many dual nationalities if you had British on your passport and you had to be given a gun and go to foreign lands to fight. I bet they'd tip the British bit off their nationality straight away, wouldn't they? They would no longer be a British blah blah blah. They'd just be a blah blah blah, and all return back to their homelands, or ancestral homes, shall we say? But we are lucky in the fact that although we've only got a fighting force of about 75,000, we have just inherited 2 million men of fighting age who may be only too grateful for the opportunity to fight for the country they want to assimilate to and belong. So that's handy. Look on the bright side of that. Unless we have loads of dinghies going the other way, which is also possible. But then out of the ones remaining, it doesn't sound like there'd be a lot left, but out of the ones remaining, what would they be fighting for? Would they be fighting for Britain, which for the last decades you've not really been able to acknowledge exists? Would they be fighting for a flag, which we've been told for, again, decades that you can't be proud of? Would you be fighting for a history, which we're ashamed of? Would you be fighting for justice and what's right? But it's difficult nowadays to see what is right, isn't it? What's going on in Ukraine is terrible, obviously. Like any war zone, it's not the only one. It's the one that we seem to fund more than the others. But it is a strange sort of concept that the war could have been entirely prevented, because President Putin did say there will be no war if Ukraine remains neutral and as a buffer zone between NATO and doesn't apply to join NATO. The very next year, they tried to join NATO, which was a direct contravention of the request laid down the year before. So if you go on many conspiracy sites, I don't, because I'm not conspiratorial, perhaps it was a war that could have been avoided if just that one promise had been adhered to. Obviously it's a great earner for everyone. So in the end, who would be left fighting? I'd be too old, fingers crossed, because I'm a coward. So to have a war, you've got to be fighting for an identified belief, an identified goal, an identified character trait, and that's all gone. So it'd be interesting to see who they conscript, who they get to fight, who would remain, and where the war would be, how long it would take. Still, if you've got kids, it's a worry, isn't it? Anyway, so today we're going to have a nice political rise to an old-fashioned song. It's going to be War. What is it good for? I can't remember who sung it now, but I'll find it in a second and it'll be posted at the bottom. Please click like, share and subscribe. If you're on TikTok, sorry I'm not crying about don't scroll through and anything like that, and I'm not putting on a recipe for a custard hot dog or something disgusting, or showing how easy it is to make Indian food at home. And I'm on Instagram as well as Tim's Trophies. So please follow me on all these things. Let's get these political messages across, shall we? Ta-da!